Hi there. You click this either because you're an active follower of mine or you're a victim of bullying. If it's the former, thank you. And if it's the latter, I'm really sorry for you. As someone who's been bullied for a dozen years, I totally understand that. Being bullied is tough, and what's worse is that we're often dismissed, ignored, and isolated. Before anything else, I want you to know that it's not your fault. People become bullies for all sorts of reasons, and none of them have to do with you. Their unjust wrongdoings on you are not a reflection of who you are. So, you must not let them define you. You are more than this pain, and you will get through this. My social media is always open for you to reach out and ask for emotional support. That being said, it's not enough to provide words of comfort. We have to tackle our issues head on. Therefore, I created this video to give practical advice for victims of bullying. Take note that this advice is for how to deal with bullying, not necessarily how to stop it. The truth is, there's nothing that you can do to guarantee that your bullies will stop because, again, you are not the reason why they do it. It has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. That being said, the first advice that I have for victims of bullying is to document everything. Yes, everything. Whenever you get bullied, write down who, what, where, when, and who, what, where, when. Yeah, that's it. For example, at 1:32 p.m. on Saturday, October 18, on the first floor of Building A, Nicole Albright said that I looked like a depressed grandmother and then threw an empty bottle of skincare at me. The reason for documentation is so that you'll be able to identify patterns of behavior. If it gets repeated, then you would know and remember. This is crucial in case you get memory loss, as a common coping mechanism that our brain uses to deal with trauma is to forget that it even happened in the first place. And if someone is bullying you, you wouldn't want to forget that. That puts you at a disadvantage immediately. You have to remember what people did to you so that you can avoid them, defend yourself against them, and plan your next move. You wouldn't want to be acting overly nice or sharing secrets with someone who literally bullied you and you just forgot about it. Now, whenever you get bullied, you have only two options: stand up for yourself or ignore. There is no fighting back. Never ever do revenge, I tell you. I know that it's hard, but you have to remain the bigger person to keep a clean slate. It's going to be even harder for people to support you and to believe your pain if you also inflict pain on other people. By keeping a high moral ground, you keep your image as the victim, not the perpetrator. You want to remain innocent so that there is a stark contrast between you and your bully. In the case of law, bullying a person back, even when provoked first, is still bullying. It will still bear the same consequences. Just because they started it, it doesn't mean that you should continue it. In fact, you should end it. Now, picking between standing up for yourself and ignoring is a very delicate choice to make. And it's based on a combination of multiple factors. But I'll try to give a general rule of thumb. Typically, when it's the first time that you get bullied by that certain person in that certain way, you should absolutely stand up for yourself. You don't want to give the person the impression that you're going to tolerate their behavior. First impressions last. Another time that you should stand up for yourself is when you catch them saying a lie about you in front of you. If they know that you heard it, yet you stayed silent, the bully and the people around will take your silence as confirmation that the lie is true, because it's the absence of denial. You don't want them to think that it's true if it's not. If it's physical, The way to stand up for yourself is to dodge it and run away. Don't touch them unless it's to non-violently prevent them from touching you. For instance, if you see their hand about to slap your face, you may grab their wrist and gently redirect it away from your face, but don't break their arm. Alternatively, if they already slap your face, don't slap them back. Instead, say, "That's disrespectful, don't touch me," and then run away. The key here is to implement a no harm policy. Again, you are the victim, not the bully, so act like it. You can be assertive of your boundaries while still respecting the boundaries of other people. Them being bad does not give you the right to be bad back to them, and it will backfire on you in a courtroom. When you stand up for yourself, you have to remain calm, factual, and respectful. Those three are absolute musts whenever you say anything to your bully. Calm means that you have to look as unaffected as possible. Don't show emotion, don't raise your voice, don't look angry. You have to show your bully that you are unaffected by their actions. Don't give them a reaction. The reason why bullies bully you to your face is because they're trying to solicit a reaction from you. By being as nonchalant as possible, they'll get bored and they might eventually stop trying to bother you altogether. They want drama, and they won't get it from an unwavering statue. Now, factual means that you have to take everything they say and do in a matter-of-fact perspective. Some people try to do mental gymnastics looking for a response when they get bullied. They try to think of baddie comebacks or whatever. The truth is, you don't have to do all that. Stick to the facts. Call them out on their behavior. If their behavior is disrespectful, then say, "That's disrespectful." If they're bothering you, then say, "You are bothering me." The most effective way to combat bullying is to state the fact of the matter, to call it for what it is. We're basically telling the bully, "I know what you're doing. I don't like it. Stop it." Trust me, they usually stop after that, or at least they stop with that particular comment, then a few weeks later they move on to a new punchline. But hey, a win is a win. As for being respectful, I already elaborated on that. If a person insults you, don't insult them back. That's basically argumentum ad hominem, which is a logical fallacy wherein instead of attacking the person's argument, you attack the person. Attack their argument instead. It's a lot easier to do, and it maintains your moral outlook. For example, if they say, "You're ugly," say, "Beauty is subjective. I don't have to follow your standards," and then walk away. There you have it. It's calm, factual, and respectful, and you're attacking the argument, not the person. That is how you make a comeback. Now that's on standing up for yourself, but when should you ignore the bullying? You should ignore it when you already stood up for yourself for that particular comment from that particular person. If they say that you're ugly once, then sure, go ahead and counter that. But if they say it again, don't even bother replying. The goal of talking back is to get them to stop. And it's futile when they already proved to you that they're not gonna stop. Maintain a straight face, walk away, and keep your dignity high. It's not worth your time, effort, or energy trying to make sense to people who don't want to listen. But you know who is worth your time though? It's the people in authority. Like if you're in school, then it's your teachers, the staff, and the administration. Or if you're at work, then it's your boss and manager. If you're being targeted by your peers, especially if it's the majority of them, aka social bullying, then you should redirect your attention to the people that can help you. Why is this so? Whenever you're being bullied, it's crucial to look good in front of your higher-ups for a number of reasons. One is for emotional support. If your higher-ups like you, then they'll be open to hearing you talk about your pain from being bullied or pretty much anything else. Another is as a distraction. If you don't have the approval of your peers, at least try to get into good terms with your higher-ups so that you don't go insanely lonely. In addition to that, unlike your peers, Your higher-ups' approval actually matters. Your teachers give you grades, your boss gives you salary, meanwhile your classmates or coworkers just give you stress. So which group of people is really worth focusing on here? Focus on the people who matter in the long run and who actually have a direct impact on the direction of your future. However, this then begs the question, how do you get the approval of your higher-ups? Since I'm a high school student, I only have experience in the school field, so I'll stick with that. Obtain high scores. Submit your work on time. Be participative, lead group projects, etc. Just try to farm as much credibility in the classroom as you can. Be a student that is impossible to ignore. With that, you're not only able to impress a bunch of adults who could possibly help you with your situation, you're also improving your grades. It's a win-win. Speaking of help, alright, so we talked about how to deal with bullies. But the truth is, you shouldn't have to. The main importance of gaining credibility in front of figures of authority with regards to bullying is so that they will believe you when you decide to report. If you carry out your responsibilities well and show good character, they're more likely to feel sympathy for you and to be compelled to help you with your case. With that, probably the most important advice that you can take away from this video is report the bullying. Yeah, I know, scary. What if people call you a dramatic snitch? I have a very easy counter to that question. Should you care what they think? Why do you care so much about the opinion of people who don't care about your rights? Why does impressing them matter to you when you are not even impressed by them? If someone is bullying you, then you must think that they're a bad person who does dumb things, right? Why should you care about that kind of person? Why should you care about someone who violated you, bothered you, insulted you, mocked you, pushed you, cursed you, etc.? Let that sink in, and let that sink in deep. There is absolutely nothing wrong with reporting violations to authority. You are a person, a citizen, possibly a child, who has unalienable rights protected by the law. You would not be wrong for asking for help from the very people who are employed and legally obligated to help you. Asking for help does not mean that you are weak. In fact, it would mean that you are strong for standing up for yourself, smart for knowing when enough is enough, and self-respecting enough to feel that you deserve better. Asking for help also does not mean that you are unable to deal with the bullying. Yes, you can deal with it on your own, but you don't have to. You can walk for miles, but you don't have to when you can take a Jeep. You can let yourself be soaked by the rain, but you don't have to when you have an umbrella. You can carry out all communication in the forms of letters sent by pigeons, but you don't have to when you have a cell phone. Reporting is just using your resources. There are people out there whom you can ask help from, so why not? I know that it may seem scary, but that's a stigma talking. The whole snitch narrative is a lie created by bullies to isolate us victims and to scare us from asking for help so that they don't face the consequences of their actions. The truth is, being a snitch in this context is a good thing. It is the best way to seek support, peace, and justice. However, there's a nuance. There are things that you have to do before reporting. One is to establish credibility with the person that you're going to report to, as I mentioned earlier. Another is to make it clear to your bullies that you want them to stop. Because if you don't, then the bullies can easily make the excuse that you never told them that it made you uncomfortable. Finally, you have to wait it out a little longer. The definition of bullying is repeated unwanted behavior. Repeated, okay? It's not bullying if a person insults you a couple of times. You have to wait until the evidence you have to wait until the incidents become significant and substantial. Once you've done those things, you can file a report, but you can report only when your report has these three things. First, evidence. This is a hard one to have. It really is. But the truth is that your report will be null and void if the recipient does not have a valid reason to believe that you're telling the truth. The most that they could do is call your bullies in for a meeting and ask if they did what you said they did, which is useless because they're obviously going to lie. Try to gather a piece of evidence, anything at all. Bullies tend to slip up, like through a wrongly sent message or by forgetting that there are security cameras watching. Be wary of any kind of proof at all and then use it to your advantage. Second, professionalism. You're not going to be taken seriously if you simply run to a random teacher and go, "Sir, my classmate is bullying me." You must follow due process. Write a formal letter, include all the details that I previously told you to document, attach all evidence and a list of witnesses, then submit it to the right person, the one who is supposed to handle these situations. This signals that you are serious and it establishes credibility. Third, the third thing that your report should have is respect. It's quite basic, but some people forget. Always keep your manners during the process, such as by being patient, being polite, and being open-minded. You must also respect your bullies as well. Don't make any insults or assumptions about them, like they should burn in hell, or their father probably left them and that's why they act like this. Again, stick to the facts. Focus on what they did, not on who they are. Condemn the actions, don't condemn the person. Now we're done with the most fundamental advice for how to deal with bullies. Now here are a few random, unique, oddly specific ones. 1, do the buddy system. Never be alone, especially if the kind of bullying that you're facing is physical bullying. If you're with someone, especially if it's someone who knows how to fight, then bullies are less likely to target you. And if they do, then you have an eyewitness of the event who can vouch for you if you need them to. 2, stay alert. Don't wear headphones or sleep or be overly immersed in your gadgets in a place where you know your bully can easily go to. It's easier to target someone who's not paying attention, so pay attention. 3, protect your belongings. Keep valuables with you at all times. Put a padlock on your backpack. If you think that's extra, just remember that what your bullies are doing to you is also extra and that they're willing to do anything to make your life miserable. 4, consider all the associates of your bully as your bully too. If a person knows that your bully is bullying you and yet does nothing about it, even though that person did not do anything to you directly, that's still bullying by being complicit. They're accomplices. Don't fall for their silence. 5, plan your responses ahead. Try to think of possible situations based on what you've been through before, and then memorize responses so that you can say something on the spot. This is especially helpful in case you freeze or get nervous. 6, go through basic self-defense training. Maintain the no-harm policy, as mentioned earlier, but if things escalate and you have no choice but to really defend yourself, you should know how to handle that. 7, keep yourself healthy. You have to be functioning at maximum level, physically, mentally, and psychologically, to effectively deal with bullies. 8, develop your self-confidence. The bullies are already trying to erode it. You have to protect it and grow it to become your impenetrable fortress. 9, seek support. This can be from friends, parents, or most preferably, a licensed professional. And 10, remember that it is not your fault and that you do not deserve it. Always keep in mind that you are a person like any other who deserves to be treated correctly. And that's pretty much it for my advice. These are the actions that I have learned how to do purely from experience of a dozen years of bullying. It's not easy, but I believe that you can get through this. Don't give up on yourself, because I won't give up on you.